Hey guys, what's up? I'm outside today. Today is a beautiful day, and I'm really excited to see you guys. Happy to be here. Happy to be doing this show, What's the 411, on the outside today. We are on the outside. So, thank you for joining. I appreciate you guys joining. Very excited to have you here, and super excited to have Miss Tiffany 1301 in the building today. So I am going to let's see if I could send her a message. Right? Oh, we're waiting for her to pop in. I'll just get a little comfortable here. Hi. How are you?
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well, Ellie. How are you?
I am doing great. How's your day today?
It's been nice and relaxing so far. Got busy in the evening with client meetings and just got a little bit close to the wire there, so I'm glad it worked out.
Perfect, perfect. I know it's a busy day, and we're all excited to be, here during this COVID situation. So, grateful for everything. How are you doing during this COVID?
I actually kind of enjoyed being at home with my daughter because being so busy, it wasn't something that I was able to do often. We're always on the road between work, errands, client meetings. She's in karate. So it's kind of nice to just enjoy everything here together. It's still busy because of all
Yeah,
the Zoom calls, but it's different. We've bonded in a different way, I think, over the last couple months.
awesome. So, how old is your daughter?
She's gonna be 13 in September. It's
Oh
gonna be her champagne. She's gonna be 13 on the
gosh.
13th. Yeah.
Wow, teenage life.
Yeah, I'm gonna call her over. JJ, come say hi before you start karate, baby. She has a call at 8:30.
Wow.
This is my daughter.
Hi, beautiful. Oh my
That's it. Say
goodness,
hi, Miss Ellie.
13.
Yes.
How are you, JJ?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
She's
Wow, gonna be 13 just now, eh? Exciting, exciting
ready for
stuff.
saying hi, baby.
Oh my goodness.
I'm
So,
surprised she
okay.
agreed to come over.
Pardon me?
I'm surprised she agreed to come say hello.
Oh, wow. I know when
She's
they get that
really
age, they're
shy.
just in their own world, right?
She's very shy. She's very shy. She's opposite of me. She's not very outgoing. She doesn't talk a whole lot. So she got that from her dad for sure.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so please introduce yourself and tell us about you. What do you do?
So my name is Tiffany Williams, and I am a licensed financial professional with World Financial Group. I've been doing it for about 5 years now. Actually, 5 years. July 7th was the anniversary.
Okay. So, what is World Financial Group?
World Financial Group is a company who focuses on providing financial education to families and making sure that no matter who you are, what your background is, your amount of money, assets, etc., it doesn't matter. Everybody should have the same amount of opportunity to learn about how money works and how we can apply these financial concepts to reach our goals and our dreams.
Wow. Okay, so 5 years you've been doing this. When did you, or why did you get started?
That's a very good question, actually. I first was presented with the opportunity when my best friend started with the company, and she wanted me to kind of give her my opinion on it, see what it was about. And I was actually pretty upset with her at first because of my own personal challenges that I had. Like, I was raised by a single mom, and she was diagnosed with melanoma when I was 12. And she passed away just shy of my 18th, just a week after I turned 18, and nobody was having those conversations about a will or what's going to happen to Tiff when you pass, or what the case is, the things that we should have been talking about. And when she died, it was just my stepdad had promised to take care of me, and we went a year living together and trying to make the best of it. But he decided one day that he didn't want to be my caregiver, my guardian anymore. And I came home from a trip to the States visiting my grandparents and couldn't get back in the house. And I ended up living with my boyfriend at the time, had my daughter within a year of that, and was a single mom within a year of that. And because I had been working, I went to school, but I had to stop after the complications happened at 19. School was not something I was able to continue. So I started working full time. And ended up having to declare bankruptcy because my employer wasn't taking income tax out of my check for about 2 years, I think it was. So I got a letter that I owed about $18,000 to the government, which I had no idea how I was going to pay. So long story short, everything happened. By the time I was 24, I had been through all of that. And when my friend presented this to me and asked me my opinion, I told her my opinion. I'm like, this isn't something you should be bringing to me now. I've already gone through the challenges and figured it out on my own. And now I'm finally in a position where I'm rebuilding and have a better understanding of what I need to do. But we weren't having that conversation when I needed it. So what happened was the gentleman who was doing the presentation for her looked at me and he said, Tiffany, what would you do if what happened to you happened to your daughter? And I was really upset. I'll just leave it like that. I was upset, and I was visibly upset. Like I think I cried, and I was like, "How dare you say that to me? Why would you even wish that on her?" And he was like, "So what have you done about it? What are the things that you've actually said? This is A, B, C going to be able to prevent that from happening?" And I had to be honest with myself. I hadn't done anything. So I decided that I was going to take advantage of the fact that if not only can I improve my situation for myself, right, but I can make sure what happened to me doesn't happen to anybody else. And for me, that's the mission that I've been on the entire time. If I can go out there and speak to people and share my story and give them that comfort space to know that I want to engage with you, I'm confident in what I'm doing, and I'm somebody that you can trust to help you, then your possibilities are endless as long as we work together. So it's just been that sharing my story and just making sure that nobody's left without having those difficult conversations.
My goodness. Well, definitely you you deserve a round of applause. I am giving you a high five, a big hug from
Thank
over
you. I
here
appreciate
because
that.
that's amazing. Being able to pull, first of all, going through all of that, is amazing because you're still standing. You're still going strong. Look at your 13-year-old daughter, beautiful. Like, I
Yes, my
mean,
whole life.
yeah, like that's amazing.
Thank
Amazing.
you.
So big up yourself on that one.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So talk to us about like what you are doing. Um, like what kind of financial help are you providing people?
So it's a multifaceted approach, but
Mm,
the initial stage is to have that conversation about the education. So first, want to let people know a little bit more about the company. How we operate is very similar to a distribution company, right? Because we don't own any of our own products. And what makes us unique is the fact that we're going to take a look at the individual or the family's current finances, have a conversation about their goals, their dreams, what are they working towards? And then as we have an idea of the bigger picture, we're going to build a strategy in line with where they are, what maybe needs a little bit more attention in the 6 areas, and I'll touch on that in a second. And then it's an ongoing relationship. So after I do the current finances, I'm going to say, okay, based on the approach that we take, these are some of the things that we need to look into a little bit further. And because we're going to take a look at cash flow and budgeting and income and expenses, debt, emergency funds, protection, making sure that you know how to build wealth and preserve it, all of these things are encapsulated in what's called the financial needs analysis. And after I do that, I can say, okay, well, say you have X amount of dollars left. I'm going to ask you, how much do you feel comfortable putting towards a plan for yourself to help accelerate your goals and dreams? And then we're going to go over everything. I'm going to educate somebody on all the concepts that are involved, the companies, the products, how this looks short term, long term, and it's an ongoing relationship. So after I make those solutions and possibilities known, I'm going to answer, like I said, every question that the person has so that they're comfortable, right? Because I want to make sure that I'm giving them something of value and that is actually going to help them. Then we would put everything into place and check in regularly. I like to usually meet with my clients twice a year just to make sure, life happens. So if you get married, if you have another child, if you get separated, if there's, a change in career, job, income, all of those things, my gut job is to make sure that we're constantly staying on track so that the things that we're looking for get done.
wow. So especially now during this COVID-19 situation, are you finding that a lot of people are reaching out to you? more trying to like secure their financial future
For sure,
because
for
it's
sure.
scary out here
It is,
right
and
now.
unfortunately, I would have talked to a few people before all of this happened because that's exactly what we're trying to do: prepare for the emergencies, prepare for the unknown. And a lot of people were hit really hard financially, and they came back and they wanted to have the conversation again. And I'm here, still able to do anything because it's never about how much money somebody has, which is what my favorite thing is. Right? If somebody would think, oh, a financial professional doesn't want to talk to me because I don't have $1 million in assets or more, or I'm not, privy when it comes to investments or understanding insurance. They don't realize that it's just a conversation. You just have to start by wanting to accomplish your dreams and knowing that you need help putting a strategy into place. So now people are realizing, okay, we need to have the strategy now in case it continues or happens again, or God forbid something worse happens.
Mm. So, like, what are some of the misconceptions that in the financial world, some maybe about the financial industry, some individuals would have that you most commonly hear?
For me, it's people thinking that somebody's out to get your money, right?
Mm.
Somebody thinking that, oh, I don't have anything, but you're still going to find something to take from me. Or you're going to have me put my money somewhere where I'm going to lose it.
Right.
Especially in West Indian cultures, like they know padna and, all those types of things, or they don't believe in insurance because somebody one time had a claim denied. And you're like, no, man, you got to be educated before you come to those conclusions. It
Right.
doesn't, it doesn't work that way. I'm not looking for somebody to put money in my hand to invest personally. I'm not looking, there's never any cash exchanges between me and anybody that I'm helping. Everything is very much about the value that I bring. So everything also, Ellie, is done at no charge to somebody. So if I sit with you and I'm educating you on concepts, you don't have to pay me, right? If I'm going over your budget, if I'm looking at your current needs and your dreams, there's no money. If something is implemented because the person understands the concepts and the value and how it adds to their life, with the contracts that I have with the different providers that we work with, that's how I get compensated. It's never a cash issue. Nobody has to be worried that they don't have money to meet with somebody like myself. Nothing like that. That's my favorite part, actually.
Yeah, because if, of course, especially as West Indian people, we're always very cautious of our money. We will trust the bank institution to go to that bank to put our money in there, but then when it comes to dealing with on a one-to-one basis, we're always like, where's my money really going here?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, so it's good that, of course, in our Black community, we need people, individuals like you, such as yourself, who are completely educated in this industry so that we know that we can trust you. We know where our money's going, and then you could also teach us certain things because we don't always know the value of a dollar and how to save it or spend it properly.
Very true. Very true. And I feel a lot of people, especially in this current age, want to look a certain way, want to behave a certain way because it's popular. And they're
Right.
more worried about trying to keep up rather than, focusing on what's happening within their home. And I think it's more important that people remember that it's one thing to say that we're going to care for our families. I can love my family members and want the best for them, but other than being physically present and feeding and cleaning and being supportive, what am I actually doing to
Right.
embody that for a long term basis?
Right. Okay, so why should people choose to work with you? What sets you aside from the other consultants that you have, or even other financial industries that are out there? Like, why should we contact Ms. Tiffany?
Okay, cool. That's always a question that kind of throws me off because I feel like it's something where no matter what, somebody's always going to say something to make themselves look good, right? And I'm the type of person, I like to genuinely connect with people. And once somebody shares their story with me, it becomes really personal to me. I'm not somebody who could know something about somebody and all of a sudden it not matter to me. Like I never think about them ever again or anything like that. So like I said, I really love engaging with people and getting to meet new people and wanting them to know that there's that genuine sincerity in wanting more for them and their family, and knowing that nothing that I do is for money because I can't stand that. It drives me insane. I can't. It really bothers me. It grinds my gears. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Yeah. Okay, so you have your daughter, definitely. So we see that as an obvious motivation. But what is a driving force behind you getting up every day and doing what you do?
I don't have a typical relationship with my daughter. She really is the reason for everything. I don't have a very big family, because we're kind of spread out and very close knit. So it really comes down to just wanting to set that stage for her where she sees somebody every day fight for the things that we talk about. We have a lot of things that we enjoy doing together, and I keep her really engaged in everything that I'm doing. So if I'm busy or whatever the case is, I'm not trying to make her feel like I'm working for something and she doesn't see the value in it. She understands what my mission is, she understands the story behind it. She really is more than just my daughter. If I didn't have her, there would be no reason to do anything, to be honest with you. She really is everything to me. And everything that I do, it has to reflect on us, and just for her life to not be anything like mine. It's not even close.
Wow, that's definitely a model. So you are leading the way in motherhood, womanhood, and you're showing us, what it's all about. Because as mothers, especially as Black parents, we need that model. We have to be the example for our children. So you're showing us where it's at, Miss Tiffany. That is amazing. That is amazing. So um, a lot of people are disorganized, when it comes to your finances. Like, how do you personally encourage people to, stay organized?
That's a great question. I myself have OCD. I get teased about it quite a lot because I am one of those people who are very structured. So the first thing that we like to focus on is making sure people understand the importance of having that budget, right? So wanting to or know that everything has to start from knowing your cash flow. If you don't understand how your cash flow works and you're not constantly on top of it, pre-planning, keeping tabs, staying on track in terms of knowing at the end of the month how close did you stay to your budget? Were you within it? Did you exceed it? Whatever the case may be. And then just realizing that in order to keep that structure, if you're remembering the why, then everything else is a strategy to get you there. So the motivation to stay organized comes from how bad do you want the things that you say you're working towards. Because if you really, really want it, if you really want that house in the islands on the crystal clear waters and in the tropical, you're going to actually really do whatever it takes to make sure that you're constantly striving to achieve it. So it's just a matter of having the right tools. And I think once you, even if you don't necessarily use an advisor, for example, just to have maybe an Excel spreadsheet, that's something that I started with, just to know every month this is the money coming in. My bills should be the same every month. Everybody knows what you spend money on month over month. And then it's just a matter of trying to have that discipline. And it takes time, right? But I think when you have somebody that's encouraging you along the way and trying to help keep you accountable, it changes it. Because at the end of the month, you're not going to want to have that phone call like, hey, where's the budget? You said you were going to email me the spreadsheet. What happened? And they're like, oh, I forgot, or whatever the case may be. And then it's awkward because you're going to say to yourself, you said to somebody that this was important to you, but yet 30 days have gone by and you haven't even done little tiny steps to make the difference.
Hmm. And that's important to remember, a budget, because a lot of times we set the budget, but then it's hard to adhere to the budget. So a good tip is an Excel spreadsheet. Like, are you writing down all of your spending, like every single penny? Like, what are the keys to this Excel spreadsheet?
So the first thing to
Help
do
me.
is the first thing to do is do like a rough idea of what you think you spend. Right? Like a lot of people don't even know that that's something that's important. And you have to be realistic with yourself. If you know you're going to go to the grocery store and spend $400, don't budget $200 because you're going to feel like you're failing on something that is a necessity. Budgeting groceries is one of the first things you want to budget because it can get out of hand. So what I like to do is literally at the start of every month, I'll take a lined piece of paper and my calendar, and I know what day my bills come out. I know what day money comes in, and it's a thing where, okay, in this 2-week period, these are the bills. The next 2 week period, these are the bills. If there's something extra, like, maybe the car needs a little extra servicing, maybe a birthday is coming up or another special event that I'm a part of, maybe I'm putting on an event that I don't normally. So those things become the anomalies. And then what I'll do is I'll look at last month and say, okay, so I might have thought I was gonna spend $400 on groceries, but I actually spent 600. So maybe this month I'm gonna know that the number needs to be adjusted, and then I'm going to keep that paper in my day timer. And every time bills come out, I make sure that I have the auto alert on my email. So every time a withdrawal comes out, I get an email. So I'm like, okay, I know that got paid, right? I don't need to sit there and think, oh, just because the day happened, did it actually get paid? And I keep all my receipts. If I go to the corner store and I spend $1, I have a receipt for it. So everything is. I told you I have OCD. Look at your face.
No, that's actually good. That's good. I'm getting the tips because I need that right now. Because I was just saying to myself, I need to put myself on a budget. And I know I've tried this before, writing everything down. But this is good because I never keep my receipts. Something I do is as soon as I get my receipt, I toss it in the garbage. Or I'm like, yeah, you can keep it. It's okay. I don't need it.
Keep a tiny little pencil case, like a mesh one. I got at Dollarama in my purse. So as soon as the receipt comes, it either goes to my daughter who puts it in the bag for me, or I keep it, and as soon as I come home, she knows to put them on my desk. Right?
That's
it's just
good.
a thing that's become a habit. It took time to develop. I started with the envelope method, where when I got paid, I had labeled envelopes and cash went in them, so I didn't really live with the debit card too much because it was harder to track that way. And then it became just knowing it. Once it was written down, I could control it. And then when I started to really pay attention to my business expenses, the receipt thing really came in clutch because my accountant was like, listen, you have to have your receipts. You can't be claiming stuff with me and have no receipts. And I was like, okay, I'm on it. And then over the years, it's tweaked a little bit, but the Excel spreadsheet came in maybe 4 or 5 years ago when I wanted to be able to give those to my client. So I would share what mine looked like, as I always do. And then they would be like, wow, kind of how your reaction was, and then
No,
they're like,
because
can I
it's so
change
smart.
it? Yeah, can I tweak it? Can I change it? Can I change the colors? And I'm like, you can do whatever you want. It's yours. Just make it work for you. And it's amazing to see even those small wins. I like to tell people it's important because if you even get something control over your budget, it's going to make you feel like you can do anything. If you have debt, if you stick to your budget, it's more clear to see that the debts are going to be paid off. And you're actually going to see that you have more money left over every month.
It allows you to see a vision too. Like if you really, have a goal in mind and then you start to actually set these things, put these things in play, you can see it almost happening in real life,
And that's the beauty of it, because that's exactly what motivates people. Those mini victories, I like to call them, because they're empowering. You try something and it works, and you see yourself getting closer to those financial goals becoming a reality. And you do a little dance, you smile, you want to call somebody, and then it becomes even more accountability related.
100%. 100%. So, what are some of the important things that we need to teach our children about finances?
Wow, there's so many things. I'm so excited, first of all, to know that they are slowly incorporating it into the curriculum.
Right?
When it came, I'll use my daughter as an example. When I first started this business, I realized that a lot of the concepts may be too advanced for her, right? But I was able to break it down. So she would join me on client meetings and hear the concepts, and she would have her own questions. And then I'd start by letting her know the most important thing is to know how much money you have coming in, right? And you have to know that cash always has to stay positive. And you have to know that just because you have the money doesn't mean you need to spend it. You have to think about long term. What is it that you want? Do you want to grow up and money not be an issue? Okay, so start by knowing that you keep money, know what to do with it. You use it only when absolutely necessary for something that's going to add value to your life. And then she was kind of like, well, how do I make money, Mom? And I was like, well, right now you get an allowance for cleaning. You do your little chores, you get a little $5. Right? You get good grades, you ask for a pair of shoes that normally I wouldn't want to buy, but because you got straight A's on your report card, so you understand that reward system first. And then it became, okay, so now you have money in a wallet. Well, that's not a really responsible way of keeping it. Let's open you a bank account. So we got in the car, we went over, and she had her appointment to open her account, and I could see that she started to feel more responsible. She had that sense of knowing, like, this is mine now. I can't lose this little piece of plastic. I have to remember the PIN number. I want to know how to set up my app to watch the cash balance. And it was really funny to watch just because you realize that she had been paying attention to the conversations that we've been having.
Yeah.
And then she wanted to know, how do I get more money? How do I how do I get more? So she
Yeah.
got licensed to be a babysitter. And every time she made money, it was like, okay, so how much money? You take a look at it once in a while, make sure you know it's sitting there and nothing's happening to it. And then she want to go out with her friends. And she'd be like, Mom, my friends want to go to KFC or something. And I'm like, okay, so how you going to KFC? You want me to give you money or are you spending your own money? And she's like, well, I think it's okay. I don't go out often with my friends, so I think I could afford to spend the $10 to eat with lunch. And I was like, okay, all right, that's fine. But I think that there's certain limits, like make sure you don't see your money go down to below a certain point, to kind of give yourself a safety net, and just understanding a little bit about how credit works, because that's something that's important in a young age. From my own experience, it was easy to just ruin just that quick.
Yeah.
So she knows my story. I don't keep much from her. So I use myself as that example and just wanting her to always know that if you want anything, it's going to cost money. And the fancier it is, the more outlandish it is, the more money it's going to cost.
Yeah.
And then learning, like if she wants something, I show her this is how much it costs. What's this extra money that she's charging me, mommy? It's tax. Okay, well, what is tax? So as long as it's relatable to everyday living, those fundamentals become really, really clear, and we have fun with it. I think it's important for children to know that money is not a scary thing, right? And finances is not something to be overwhelming to cause you to just not know, because I think when something scares you, you don't want to know too much about it. Like I don't like spiders, so I'm not gonna go pull up the encyclopedia and research spiders. No, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah.
So I just think that's how to have the positive conversations and apply it to real life is where we start. And then as they age, you add on to the concepts. Start talking about assets versus liability. What happens? How you save on taxes? How do you decide how to invest your money? What is the right way to find protection? And I think she has a little bit of an advantage, but she will
Yeah.
be able to pass that on to her friends, and that's something that's cool. I want them to have different conversations. I don't want her to be talking about boys or I want her to be talking about things that are gonna help her be better.
Yeah. And that's important too because as you are educating your daughter, we have to understand as parents, they educate their friends. They're around their friends.
Yeah.
Our children are connected, right? So she's taking that education and she's sharing it with her friends who are sharing it with other people. And this is key information to know. So that's awesome. That's good. And it's great that she's taking it in. She's interested in it, because she sees the value that you're bringing to the table. And that's what interests our children when they see the value of things, right?
But she doesn't have any interest in doing anything professional like money or doctor or lawyer. She wants to be a chef and own her own restaurant. So it's a completely, I said to her, I'm like, okay, so do you know how much money it costs to open a restaurant? And then when I tell her, she's like, oh, okay. I'm like, yeah. So I love that you have these dreams, baby, and I'm going to do everything I can to help you achieve them. But just know it's a lot involved and you're going to have to work hard.
Yeah, yeah. Well, she's starting at the right age. This is the right time to get started, to start stacking them chips,
Right?
because, yeah, it's going to take some cash. Actually, my 8-year-old daughter wants to be a chef as well.
That's awesome.
Right? That's awesome. That's wonderful. So what are you currently working on right now?
I'm actually in the middle of a campaign that started at the beginning of July for the next 90 days. I'm specifically focused on helping more families than ever, especially because now is a time where I'm doing everything through Zoom, email, so it's a lot more convenient. Time was a big excuse for a lot of people before, and now it's like if you can't make time for a 30, 40-minute Zoom call to talk about money, there's something that we need to look at there. So right now I'm just reaching out. Everything that I do is based on referrals. right? So I'm not a cold marketing person. I don't just stand outside and wave to my neighbors and invite them over for coffee. Everything that I do is through word of mouth. So my existing clients and my team, we talk to our friends, we talk to our family, and once somebody becomes a client of mine or a teammate of mine, then we start to say, okay, who else do you know that would value from the information that you've learned today? And then they share the information. Of course, they're going to let them know that they shared their information with me. And then I'll reach out and we start having a conversation very similar to how you and I are talking. And then I let them know who I am, what I can help them with, and we start. They get comfortable and want to explore the strategy to achieve everything that they're trying to in terms of financial freedom.
Okay. So what advice would you have for somebody like myself, who at times kind of backslides on saving money? I know I've got these goals. How do I stay motivated?
So the first thing to do is to actually sit with yourself and ask yourself honestly, what is it that I want and what's the time frame that I'm looking at? And then know that somebody like myself is here to help have that conversation with you to show you where to start in order of importance. Because everybody has a bunch of things they want to do. And the biggest question is, where do I start? Right?
Right.
So we want to look at things from building a really strong financial foundation and then adding onto that in terms of priority. So you always want to start with cash flow, making sure that that's the base, and then talking to yourself about, what are the types of protections that I have in place for myself, for my family, in case the loss of income becomes a reality, right? Then you want to look at savings because, like we talked about earlier, a lot of people don't know that an emergency fund is literally the difference between keeping your home, your car, food in your fridge, and not, right? And then looking at, okay, the next step is wanting to build that legacy. Let me build more wealth. So that's the top where we start to talk about investments. And then every time we have these conversations, there's the ongoing education, there's the ongoing interaction with you. Because if me and you are sitting down to work on a plan to keep you accountable to the things that you want, it's going to be set up in a way where you're not going to be able to back out of it as easily as you would have if you were doing it on your own. So say, for example, you want to look at an emergency fund, right? We've already looked at protection, debt's good, and now you're wanting to save money. So we're going to say, okay, what's a realistic number for you to put away where it's not going to affect your quality of life, you're not going to be doing without, but you are going to feel good knowing that you put that money to the side. It could be as low as $25, and it's automatically withdrawn and put into an account for you that you can look at, get statements for, monitor online, but it's not something that you can easily be like, nah, I don't feel like it, because it's automatically coming out on a certain day every month, right? So it's really just about knowing that once the strategy is in place, I'm constantly going to be reminding you about why. So if you tell me that your dream house in Jamaica is supposed to be on, you know, a sandals resort, you want to take over one and be on the beach every day. So when I see you and you're maybe having a hard time one month and don't want to do it or don't remember the value and why we decided to do this, I'm be like, okay, so where's your picture of your house? Pull up the picture of your house. How close are you to sitting on that beach? And you're gonna be like, oh, okay, I get it. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hush, hush.
Right?
Yeah. And sometimes it's important because we can keep ourselves accountable, but it's always good to have somebody who is in your corner, but at the same time being truthful and keeping you accountable for, when you're backsliding because it's possible, right?
It's funny too. I feel like when somebody understands the how behind the why, it becomes so much more not only fun, but it's not just a dream anymore. You're actually like, okay, so this is something that I can actually do. Like it might have sounded crazy when I first put it on my vision board, but now because I've taken the steps to educate myself, implement what I've learned, and monitor it with somebody who actually knows what's happening, that can guide me, even if it's a crazy conversation. Like my clients and I, we've become really good friends. Some of them are even like family to me, just because of how real and seeing them accomplish little things at a time is so amazing to celebrate with them. So it becomes something where it may start off being hard to build up that discipline or whatever the case may be. And then all of a sudden, because of those many victories, there's no more convincing needed. There's no more long talking or me trying to justify something I'm trying to implement with you. It's more like,
Very
okay,
true.
so Tiff, like people call, want to text, check on stuff, and it's so amazing to see the transition, right?
Yes, yes. It's important. It's important. So, you got to let us know, where can we find you, Miss Tiffany? Where are we going to be able to hook up with you and get the ball rolling?
Cool. So on my Instagram page, there's direct links to email me, call me, DM me, and then once that happens, I have a Calendly link that I like to share when somebody is interested in setting up an appointment with me, so they can see my availability and choose something really easy. So it's available. There's no back and forth like, hey, when are you free? And I'm giving you dates, and then that automatically connects a Zoom link and email reminders and puts it in our calendar. This is where my OCD comes in. And then it's just a conversation to start to go into a little bit more detail about, the concepts and the education piece. And then start to hear more about your goals and dreams, because I am excited now. Because I kind of have an idea from our conversation when you giggled at certain things that we are very similar in some of the things that we like to talk about, especially as women and mothers.
Yes, and it's important as women to be supporting other women. So I'm
Yes.
glad that you decided to, take me up on the offer and come on the show and talk about it. I have a very big venture that I'm doing next month that I would love for you to be a part of. So I'm definitely going to reach out to you. It's on a different platform where we're going to be sharing, where I'm going to ask you basically to share more information on, how it is you can help individuals, how you can share your financial expertise on this, and then of course get more clients, right? That's at the end of
Yes.
the day, you got to secure the bag. So
That sounds
so
so exciting.
yes, yes, so I'm definitely going to reach out to you and let you know all about it. But before I let you go, I would like to know, is there like a quote or an inspirational, motivational saying that you go by or that pushes you along daily?
Sure. So can I share too? Is that okay?
Of course.
So my motto is one day at a time, right? Because just everybody knows that we all have that big picture, but it's important to be in the moment, present, taking things like enjoying life as we build, because you can't miss the moments that are defining us. But a motivational quote that I have is actually by somebody, Joshua Marine, and it's challenges are what makes life interesting, but overcoming them is what makes life meaningful.
Wow.
And that for me, it just embodies that everything that I've talked about with you tonight, and what I live every day with my business, my daughter, myself, right? Life is hard, nobody could deny that, right? But it's what we do with those challenges, what we learn, how we grow as people, and how we pay it forward. And I think that's one of the most powerful things we have as human beings, the ability to learn, love, pay it forward, and do better. We can do better. We just need to have the right connections and motivations behind us.
Definitely, definitely. So I want to thank you for coming out. I want to appreciate you, and you've given us so much information today, and I appreciate you for that. I appreciate you. So
Thank you for
um,
reaching out to me. I appreciate you.
no problem. I see you out here, and I just look at people and I see what they're doing, and I don't know, we don't know each other, right? But I just could see from your page that you're out here, you're dedicated, you're a hustler, and I wanted to hear all about it. So I'm
Thank
glad
you
that
so
you were
much.
able to join me, and of course we will. Anybody who doesn't know needs to get on Ms. Tiffany dot 1301 on Instagram. Hit her up, and she will definitely hook you up with financial assistance. 100%.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate you as well.
All right. Okay, so I will talk to you soon, and you take care, and hopefully your daughter enjoys the rest of her evening and
Thank you.
continue
I
on
hear your
doing
kids
amazing
playing
work.
too. Go enjoy the rest of the evening yourself. Thank you so much, Ellie.
Thank you. Okay, take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Wow, guys, Miss Tiffany is out here doing the most to help us with our finances. So, what does that mean? We got to hit her up. I know for myself, I'm going to be talking to her about my financial budget because I need help with my finances. Like, I'm not going to lie. I can save money, but sometimes I kind of, fall a little bit short, you know. So that extra push, that extra kick in the butt, you know, will help me to be accountable for my goals and my dreams, and then of course help me to see the vision that I truly want to see. So I want to thank you all for coming on the show, and I want to thank Miss Tiffany for joining us and schooling us on financial literacy and financial information. Okay, you guys have yourself a wonderful evening.